Okay, there we go. So first off, just thank you everybody for finding the time where we could all match up our schedules. I know that's difficult. And Dr. Thompson, just an overview of kind of what this call will be is you guys are looking for some help with the sleep workflow, right?
Right.
Kind of what each step of the process is when walking from a new sleep lead from our system, from our advertising to closing the case. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, perfect. And the reason I wanted to connect you, Shawn, with Lily is because she and Dr. Ghaly have done a phenomenal job of creating a workflow that works really, really well for them and also filters out a lot of people and protects Lily's time so that she's spending time with the right patients. And I think that's really, really important, especially if you and your staff are just starting to get some momentum with sleep. You really want to protect your time so you and your staff don't get discouraged.
Right. Right.
Especially your staff, because they're the ones who got to move this forward. So
right.
So Lily, I think the best thing might be to do is maybe you just walk us through your process of when a lead comes into your lead management dashboard, how you approach that situation.
Sure. So basically we go through our calls. We call the patient, see what it was that interested them in signing in, sending us their information, call them, see if they have a CPAP, see if they have a sleep study already, when it was. And if they have a sleep study, kind of just have a discussion with them, decide, like just talk to them and tell them what do you like about your CPAP? Why are you looking for another alternative, basically? And then from there, just have a discussion with them and then let them know that we can set up the complimentary complimentary sleep consult with them. And then answer any questions they have. Usually the question becomes,
oh shoot, it looks like you're breaking up, Lily. Dang. Lily, if you want to turn off your video, we might get a better connection from you. Oh shoot.
Medical insurance, or is this often? And so we talk to them.
Lily, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for about 30 seconds there. I don't know what everyone else heard, but the last thing we heard you say basically was you were having a conversation with the patient, finding out if they have CPAP or if they've had a sleep study, answering their questions, what they like and dislike about their CPAP, and then in scheduling their free sleep consultation with you guys. Are there any specific questions that you make sure you always ask, or any type of information that you always want to get from the patient on that very first contact with them?
So I want to know if they have had a sleep study and if they've already talked to their doctor about not liking the sleep study. And then
the CPAP or the sleep study?
I'm sorry, not liking the CPAP. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I asked them to get us, at some point I'll ask them to call the doctor that did the sleep study to get it faxed to us. And then from there, I'll also ask them just questions about why they don't like their CPAP and why are they looking for an alternative, basically. Those are the main questions.
And is that just to kind of highlight get them focusing on their dissatisfaction with CPAP so they're more motivated to move forward?
Yeah, it's to build like value into what we're doing, of course. And then if they are interested and they have a semi-recent sleep study, I will set them up with one of the sleep consults, but they're done via Zoom. And I usually do that as an intake. I'll go over their sleep study. I have an online medical form that I have them fill out. We review that as well.
What form do you have them fill out?
I have a sleep questionnaire that I have online that I send them a link to.
Is it like an Epworth?
It's more intense than an Epworth. It's the Epworth and other complaints of, frequent snoring, daytime sleepiness. Has anyone heard you snore? Do you nap? How many times do you wake up? So it's a typical medical history that I put on, sleep hygiene kind of thing that I put online.
Okay.
For
And
them.
is that form filled out prior to your Zoom call with the patient?
Yeah, because that way, again, we go through it and then we have discussions on what they've inputted, basically. And then there's, what else is on there? And then I'll ask them to send me a picture of their insurance card front and back so that I can try to get verified benefits before we meet as well.
Okay. And do you do driver's license or anything like that as well for benefits?
Yeah, that's basically what that initial. We do front of the driver's a bit hesitant more about that one. So we kind of, if either they show it to me and I take a picture of it, or they'll text it in to the office.
Okay. So what's the goal of your Zoom call that you're having with the patient? At this point, you've scheduled a Zoom call. You're on the Zoom call with the patient. What is you're going through the answers that they've filled out on the medical form that you've already sent to them before the Zoom call. You've already got their insurance information. What is the goal with that Zoom call?
The goal with that Zoom call is to get a sense of how motivated they actually are. And also to find out if if there's anything that might prohibit them from moving forward, whether, I have a bunch of broken teeth, or I'm moving, or I have full upper and lower dentures, or just to kind of gauge where they are in the process of knowledge about the appliance, basically.
Okay. And obviously this is probably where the question most often comes up of how much does this cost, right? During the Zoom call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you handle that on the Zoom call?
So the way we handle it is we let them know that we will find out all that information before having them even come in for the exam or impression. So that's where I reiterate to get me the medical cards and license so that I can check it with our billers as well.
Okay. And when you say check it with your billers, who are you referring to there?
I work with GoGo billing.
GoGo billing. Okay. And Dr. Thompson's currently working with Brady billing, probably a similar process.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it sounds like it.
Okay. So do you have any questions so far, Dr. Thompson?
One question I had was the complimentary consult and the Zoom call. Is that the same thing? The consult's done through Zoom, or those are two separate?
Nope, I do that via Zoom. And then I get all the information and collect more data from them so that I can go back to the insurance companies and just make sure that everything's on the correct we've got an AHI, because some patients are calling in and they just have restless sleep and they have a very low AHI. So those are right away, those are probably not going to be necessarily covered. Things like that, just to make sure kind of your whole checkbox is taken care of what needs to be done before coming in. Because I just don't want to waste the doctor's time of having a patient come in, do an exam, do everything, and then they're not moving anywhere with it.
Okay.
So that's why it is like admin heavy on the beginning, for sure.
Yeah, but it is protecting chair time. So
Right.
so
And then if
what's-
they don't show up to the Zoom, they don't show up to the Zoom. Like you're not wasting much
how
time.
long do your Zoom calls usually last?
20 to 30 minutes.
Okay, so kind of
And
shoot
then,
for that range.
Sorry?
Kind of shoot for that range, 20 to 30 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. And
And-
then I do that, and then I show them the device and then what kind of options there are of the device.
Okay, so you have those available on the Zoom call to show them what it looks like, how it works.
Yeah, I have demos that I show. And then I will let them know kind of, there's many different options, but it's all, and every option will kind of work, but it basically, that's what the exam is for, so that the doctor can figure out which one would be most comfortable in your mouth specifically.
Okay. And then what's your protocol when you're on the Zoom call? This patient has not had a sleep test. What is your protocol in that case?
So I know that before I've set up a Zoom call.
Okay.
I'll know that before. And if that's the case, we've kind of had some good relationships with sleep docs that have been referring to us for a few years. So I actually will just send them the Epworth so that I can refer them to a local sleep doc that is excited about the oral appliances as well.
Okay.
So
And
I send that to them as a referral for a sleep study, and then they set up sleep tests for the patients. And depending on where their AHI is, they would send them back to us, basically.
Okay. And in Dr. Thompson's case, they haven't leveraged our program to help build out that referral network yet. So what do you think would be the best course of action for them if they get someone whose scheduling consult says, hey, I'm experiencing all these symptoms you guys are describing. I want a free sleep consult. They get on the Zoom, they have all the signs and symptoms. They've confirmed these people, they want to move forward. They want to avoid CPAP. What's the best route protocol wise if you don't have those relationships developed yet? Would it be something like sleeptest.com if you don't have a unit in the office? Okay.
Well, it would have to be sleeptest.com because the initial, I'm sorry, which state are you in, Dr. Thompson?
Ohio.
Ohio. I don't know is Ohio one of the states that you're able to do the sleep test?
Ohio, you can, yes.
Yeah.
It just has to be signed by somebody that's licensed in Ohio.
Okay, so that's different from us because we can't be the initial face-to-face or give out.
Distribute a sleep test, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think in Ohio that you guys can be the ones who request a sleep test in Ohio, just so long as the script is written by a medical doctor.
Correct.
Okay.
And Brady actually has that available too, where they
Yes,
can,
I was just gonna say
Great.
that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that wouldn't
Okay.
actually work for us. So that's a good benefit that you have, because then you can kind of close that loop just a little bit tighter as
Right.
well.
right.
And I
So
will
that's
say,
awesome.
and Lily, maybe you can add to this. When you do have a lead that comes in who has not yet had a sleep study, and maybe they're just wanting to avoid CPAP, some of our other members said one of the most successful things they've done is communicate with that patient's primary care to keep the primary care in the loop and say, hey, I am your patient, so-and-so came to us. They desperately want to avoid using CPAP. They're experiencing all these signs and symptoms. Here is their Epworth sleepiness scale form they filled out. Here's their bed partner survey that their wife or husband filled out, their partner filled out. We want to keep you in the loop. We've ordered a sleep test through sleeptest.com. I would like to send you those results as well. And I think our other members have said keeping the primary care in the loop is one of the most effective ways of growing that referral network, because there are so many more primary cares than there are ENTs or pulmonologists or cardiologists.
Absolutely. So a lot of our primary cares here actually will prescribe the sleep study right away without a sleep doc, which is also why I always ask in that initial call, have you talked to your primary care about this?
Okay.
So that if they've talked about it or not, then we at least have some leeway into, okay, fill out this Epworth screener. I'll send it out to your primary care saying, we had a discussion. Can you please look into setting them up for a sleep study? But where you are, Dr. Thompson, you have a little bit more leverage on that you can set up with sleep test and get that done that way.
I think.
Or wherever, or Brady, whatever they have it called.
Okay. Do you have any other questions so far, Dr. Thompson?
No, not at this point.
Okay. So Lily, next step, you've completed your Zoom call. You've gotten the sleep test results back, and possibly even a prescription from a medical doctor for an oral sleep appliance. What's kind of the next cog in this wheel that you go down?
Sure. So at that point, I'll call the patient, let them know, great news, you've been approved, or this is your out-of-pocket portion. Your insurance is going to cover a good portion of it, or whatever it is. So next step would be to come in to see if you're a candidate for the oral appliance with Dr. Ghaly. And if that's the case, we will do impressions same day. And I think I've told you before, like his favorite comment is when he walks in and they're like, am I a good candidate? I need to be a good candidate. I hate the CPAP. So that's kind of, again, the excitement and the value that's placed on the importance of getting sleep, that it doesn't become really about the cost as much as it's about the actual having refreshed sleep that sometimes you haven't had for a long time, basically.
Yeah.
So,
and I know something you've stressed in the past, Lily, has been that value begins the first time you contact the patient. That value is built throughout this process. So that's, I would say, Dr. Thompson, that, this is obviously going to be recorded, and I'll show you a YouTube link of this so that your staff can watch this video as well. But that would be really something to stress with your staff is, help the patient realize this isn't just about sleep and snoring. This is about quality of life.
Right.
Here are the things. I mean, all the side effects of obstructive sleep apnea, and the shortened lifespan. Most importantly, like this really is life and death. So all that value built from the time of that first phone call to the Zoom call to the congratulations, your doctor approved, you're a candidate, we can bring you in for impressions and get this process started. Super important to just focus on delivering value, helping them see how important this is to try and move forward. So, okay. Lily, what's next? They come in for impressions. Are you haggling with insurance companies at this point? Are you going back and forth with GoGo saying GoGo's telling you we need this? You're saying we already gave you that.
I do all of our billing in-house. I only do verification of benefits outside. And that's just because that's what I do. Good or bad, I don't know, but that's what we do on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I take half a day. So we keep that in-house. You get a lot of insurance companies. I don't know if Ohio uses AIM for the authorization. So our Blue Cross, it's been great because it's just very easy to get authorizations from them, but you just really have to have good records. That's the main thing. When you get an authorization, they'll tell you you need to have this appliance and not this appliance. So that all kind of has to be noted because you don't want an audit. And if you get an audit, you want to make sure that you have kind of all your ducks in a row. It's a very systematic process, and you don't want to stray away from the system. The letter of medical necessity, the affidavit of intolerance or non-compliance.
We're losing you, Lily.
And the authorization, of course, and your proof of delivery. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We started to lose you when you were talking about not pre-authorization, but letter of medical necessity, the things that you're providing to the insurance companies to make sure all your ducks are in a row.
Yeah, so the letter of medical necessity, the letter of intolerance or non-compliance, you want to make sure that they have the right AHI. That's a big thing. You want to make sure you have proof of delivery letter as well. So just to make sure all your ducks are in a row so that you don't have any problems.
And Brady Billing will be helping with that aspect of it, right, Dr.
Right. They've got a laundry list of everything to make sure that we have it and stuff in place. So. Okay,
great. And then Lily, so you've brought them in for their impressions or digital scans, whichever one you're doing. The appliance comes in. What is your process for delivery?
So when they leave from impressions, we actually don't set them up for delivery. I have slots saved every week so that when it comes in, I can call them with the excitement again. Like, oh, your device is here. Let's see when we can get you in as soon as possible. So again, increasing that value that like you've got this life-changing appliance that's coming your way. When can you come in so that we can make it work for you? And then that way they come in and they obviously that appointment, they'll try out the appliance, make sure it fits. And then from there, once it's all good, nothing poking, prodding, all of that, we'll have them meet up on Zoom a week to 2 weeks after that also.
Okay.
So COVID's changed our entire protocol that we're doing a lot more on Zoom than we've ever known from before, basically.
Yeah. But has that benefited you guys in any way?
It's great because patients are, they have their appliance and they have their log, and from there they're able to talk with the doctor about what they're feeling, how it is, how it's going, and then they're able to advance if they need to, because he does show them at the delivery appointment what it means to advance. But I'm going to show you how to do it, but don't do it until I tell you to do it, basically. And first, he can do it for them with them on Zoom as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you guys do any kind of sleep test with the patient while they're wearing their appliance? I know I've heard of a few of our members, they'll have their patient, they'll send them home with a sleep test that they check out from the office.
So,
I think Brady has ones that you can have delivered.
Right.
And I don't know, Lily, if you think that data would be valuable just to share with the person's primary care, say, hey, here's their AHI. prior to an appliance. Here's their AHI while wearing an appliance. Do you think
So
that
we
would go a
actually
long
have,
way?
yeah, so we actually have the night owl. We picked up a few of those devices. And once the patient feels more refreshed and getting good sleep, not snoring, feeling like they're getting like, much better sleep, no daytime fatigue, all of that, we actually send them home with the night owl and ask them for 3 nights with the night owl, so that we kind of see what their AHI looks like, or PHI, whatever it is.
Okay.
So that we can see the improvement on it. And then I do send a chart to the doctor of like what their Epworth was in the beginning, what their Epworth was towards the end. Are they snoring? What else? How many hours they were sleeping versus how many hours they're sleeping now, what their original AHI is, and what the night owl is saying their AHI is.
And is that just, I mean, obviously that data is great to have. Is that just to build credibility with the primary care?
It's to also make sure the device is working, because I tell the patients that we're gonna, at the end, when you're finally sleeping and you're feeling better, we'll do that just to make sure that the device isn't a placebo effect as well. Because just so that, it actually is showing what it sounds like you think you're feeling. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Any questions, Dr. Thompson?
No, I mean, just historically, that's kind of the way I've always done my appliances in the past. So, I mean, it's been I've had a bit of a lag since COVID and stuff. So I'm just kind of getting back up, and it's nice to get my memory refreshed on a few of these things. So it's been very helpful.
Great. Well, yeah, and Lily has done a phenomenal job with the leads that we've been sending her. In their first 90 days, she had a 4x. They had a 4x ROI on their management fee and their ad spend. So what is that, Lily? That's like 40 grand.
Pretty close, yeah.
Something like 40 grand. And your
And
guys'
then a lot in the pipelines, because medical insurance will take 4 to 6 weeks at any given time. So there was a lot in the pipeline waiting too.
So what percent of your leads do you think you're able to convert?
So we changed our dashboard a little bit, and that's helped tremendously. And that's what's also awesome about Elevation. You can or DSP, you can change what it is to kind of contour to what you need. And one of the things that I was finding was I was getting a lot of Medicaid leads. And I don't know how it is in Ohio, but in Massachusetts, they don't cover oral appliances at all. They want dentists just working on teeth, never on the medical side. So those were quite a few of our initial leads. So you can sometimes get them to convert, but it's a lot to tell them, this is 100% not covered. And it's a complete cash basis. So it takes a while. So we set up our dashboard, and I don't know if other dashboards are set up the same way.
Yeah, Dr. Thompson's lead management dashboard has everything that your guys' has now. So patients are tagged with CPAP or sleep study. Medicaid leads are kept separate from state provided insurance leads are kept separate from private and Medicare, et cetera.
So going back to the dashboard, one good thing, once we fixed everything, so you can right away, like when you wake up in the morning, when you turn on the dashboard right away, you can kind of see who has a sleep study, who's a private pay. So those are your easier converting, because they've already obviously dealt with the CPAP and not loved it for whatever reason, and they already have a sleep study. So those end up being the ones that I kind of go to first before other ones. I haven't ran my numbers recently, but at one point I think we were at a 40% conversion 40% of patients that we wouldn't have had otherwise, basically. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like,
Thompson, oh, go ahead, Lily. Sorry.
well, I was going to just say how like our relationship wasn't always so easy at the beginning. I'm like, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think this is going to work. And we did the 90 days. I'm like, okay, let's see. And I think at like 35, I was like, I think we need to turn this down a little bit because we were getting
That's a
amazing
good problem to
leads.
have.
It's a very good problem to have. It's a very good problem to have, but it does. And then from the admin aspect of it, you have to be
You're cutting out, Lily.
with every
Sorry.
single patient you reach out to. So even if you get a few that you're leaving voicemails or whatever. How about now?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Where did I start talking to myself?
You said we heard something about on the admin side, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting all that actually.
You heard everything, Dr. Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just my internet then. All right. Well, never mind. Dr. Thompson got it all. So.
Well, I was just saying that from the admin aspect, you might get 5 voicemails that you're leaving and then not get anything. And then get one person that wants to be really super excited. Like today, actually, I didn't tell you this yet, Todd, but today I actually had a patient that I had called in May. And she just reached out and she's like, I tried to give my CPAP another try, but I'm done. So can we set up, how do I set up a consult? I'm like, okay. So it is the persistence of it. And then you can kind of keep them in the back burner. And then if you have downtime, which you won't have downtime, you can kind of go back on to some of those other patients. But what's good about DSP is you've got kind of the dripping of messages throughout also, that they kind of get reminders when they haven't called back or whatnot.
Yeah. And Dr. Thompson, did you and your staff have time to go through that lead management dashboard training that we sent over?
I believe we have it. We've done it at different times. We haven't done it together. So
okay. As long as everybody sees that and understands kind of the capabilities of it, when your staff starts to go through that, like Lily was saying, we can customize that dashboard. So if you want to have different stages that you want to track people in, like let's say you want to have a stage called, right now the stage is called scheduled appointment, but we can call that scheduled Zoom call, for example. That way you can see, oh, we have 13 people who have scheduled a Zoom call, and we have 5 people who no-showed, and 13 or 8 who showed for that appointment. And out of those 8, this many have a sleeps test, and we can customize each one of those stages however it best fits your staff for organizing all of those patients on the dashboard. So if you guys need anything or are curious about what changes can be made in the dashboard, just let us know.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Any other lingering questions, or everybody feels confident?
No, I'm very confident, and I definitely appreciate Lily's time to go over some of those items. It's definitely going to help me a lot. So
awesome. Well, Lily, thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
Dr. Thompson, we'll stay in touch. Hazel's probably going to be reaching out in about a week, because I think that'll be at about 2 weeks of being live is when she'll check in with you and share some stats, and then follow up with your staff. I think is her name Holly? Yeah, she'll follow up with Holly and ask, okay, what kind of hurdles have you guys been coming up against? What has been working well? What changes do you think and based on the feedback we get from Holly, we can find out if there are things that we can address on the front end of the marketing so you experience less of those hurdles on the back end in the administrative side. Well,
Sounds great.
that's kind of how us and Lily arrived at, hey, like Lily asking questions. Can you maybe ask people if they already have a CPAP, or ask them if they already had a sleep study? And we figured out a way, okay, yeah, we actually can ask them that, and we can tag them in the dashboard to show you exactly who you should prioritize following up with. So no, there's no questions out of bounds. So
And it's a great time to be in sleep now, especially with the Philips recall, because you're going to get a lot of patients once you start marketing for that as well.
yeah, and that's something we're going to be testing out with you first, Lily, is creating ads for the Philips recall. So
Okay.
I'm personally going to be developing that landing page. It'll have the same form, you know, ask them if they're currently wearing CPAP, if they had a sleep study, but it's just going to highlight the recall, why the device was recalled, and how an oral appliance is a safe alternative to that.
Perfect.
So, and Dr. Thompson, we'll share, once we get that live for Lily, we're going to share that feedback and those results with the entire DSP member group, so that everybody can make the decision, okay, I want you guys to roll that out for us as well.
Great.
Awesome.
All right.
All right.
All right. Well, you guys
Welcome aboard.
have a great day. And then Dr. Thompson, I am going to shoot you an email right now that something we didn't touch on is having a process to collect testimonials. I kind of have a go-by sheet that I've created so that you guys can get a process in place to get those stories from your patients who you've delivered appliance to and are experiencing those positive results. So that way we can start
Fantastic.
building that library of testimonials. And as we get those recorded, we can roll those out into the marketing, which just gives you guys more credibility.
Great. Thank you.
All right, guys, we have a great weekend. And next time I talk to you guys, I'll probably be on the beaches of Hawaii with my laptop. So,
Oh, please.
Nice.
so
Enjoy.
have a great weekend, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.